All right. We got Gumi, bro, the creative Terran player in the top right of Data C. Let's see if he can pull out his mech magic up against the unluckiest Zerg in the world, Solar. We say he's the unluckiest, but he's such a veteran. He's so skilled. He's a multiple-time champion of both Star Leagues, DreamHacks, and other tournaments. I don't think he's won a GSL before, but he's won a lot of big tournaments, and he is one of the best players out there. Gets a bad rep for being nuked a few times a year or two ago, and obviously getting pylon walled in by parting on a map which you could wall in with a single pylon, which was just ridiculous and bullshit. But, you know, I really feel like Solar is still an absolute top tier player, and I think he's an especially scary match for Gumiho because he's very good at planning, getting ahead, hitting timing attacks, and Gumiho predictably likes to play Mech versus him. And also is not really a match for him, I would say, Bio versus Solar Zerg. So he kind of is like, well, I've kind of got to play Mech, but also he's just going to kill me with like a big queen drop roach all in or something. Like, you know, there's a lot of weird builds that Solar pulls out in the past, and we'll see exactly how Gumiho adapts and tries to deal with it. So far, no second gas, which makes me think he's going to go 3cc. Doesn't mean he's not playing Mech, though. Gumiho is one of the rare guys who will play 3cc Mech. And, ooh, oh, look at that, man. Good micro here by Gumiho. Forces 2 tricks. He could try to double back and catch him as they cancel. Yeah, I think he could have doubled back a little quicker and maybe forced another trick there. But either way, lost mining time, bit of money. Lost for Solar. Solar does start Ling speed after that. After the third queen, so pretty late Ling speed, but that is kind of the norm these days, the old 4-minute Ling speed. Gumiho going for that third CC. Now, if he was going Mech, I would expect the second gas to probably already be down. And in fact, he's going for a starport. Keep our eyes on it. All right, Creep Tumor in the main. Very nice. I like Solar's setup. This is looking exactly how I like to play ZvT. Clean clash opening, constantly building queens, focusing on them in the main. He'll build one in the natural soon as well. But he is slightly supply blocked on 44, so just a little mistake, but nothing too big. Gumiho still has not taken a second gas. Interesting, guys. 3:30 is, I think, the standard second gas timing if you go starport here, but this might be a very creative build or a big mistake for Gumi. What is this, dude? Well, Hellions and Reaper coming in. Reaper's going to scout towards the main. Oh, it runs away. Hellions diving in the natural. They get a drone, and they pull out. Doesn't want to actually sacrifice any units, but I like the 2-prong there. Very nice. Where are those gases, man? Gumiho, I mean, he's actually hitting non-stop Hellion production. So I guess this build actually makes sense. And he's got a medevac. Interesting. If you're going to go Hellbats, you drop an armory right now. He's going to go double gas on the natural. Still no tech lab. You guys might be more familiar with this build order than I am, so I'm just trying to puzzle it out a little bit. Not too familiar with this this version of the 3 command center. I imagine it's just going to be a Hellion drop, and then he's going to run Hellions in the front at the same time. And the thing is, I mean, he's going to need to start some extra factories or something. Oh, it's just mass. Wait. He's doing mass Hellion without Hellbats. Unless he forgot the armory. Oh my god. The Ling did get in, but I don't think Solar realizes he's about to get jumped on. Does Gumiho, did he forget his armory? He's going to drop a Viking, and he's just going to drive on top. This is not going to work. I don't think there's any way this works. The Hellion's going to go for a bit of a dive. They do get 2 drones. I mean, Gumiho can still do some stuff here, but yeah, he's going to have to use this as like a flexible pressure, I believe. No more factories built just yet. He's still massing Hellions. And he's going double eBay. What a bizarre build. He's going to 12 Hellions. He's building a Banshee right now. I think Gumiho wants to pretend this is Mech. I think that's what this is all about, guys. Does lose a Marine there. Solar with a solid cleanup. It's going to go in, but that means there's no way out. If you go in here, there is no way out. So he's going to clean up some of the Zerglings. I like that Solar pulled back. Solar's got to stop him getting up that ramp, man. If he lets him up the ramp, then Gumiho's going to roast. Okay, gets 10 drones in total. Those guys get cleaned up. This drop, if it micros forwards, it could do some more. Hellions go down. Gumiho's just going to pull out. Oh no, Gumiho. Bad micro by Gumi. He's got more Hellions coming in the front. There's only 10 Zerglings out. The Queens aren't really in position right now, but the Ling's just enough to defend. And I got to say, it feels like Solar is in the lead right now. The problem would be if Solar thought this was a mech play, but he doesn't. He's going melee carapace, which tells us he thinks it's probably Bio in the follow-up. Now, if Gumiho can keep poking with like Hellions and Banshees and stuff, it could be good, but really, you can tell that he wanted to trick Solar. He wanted him to think this is Mech. He's got like a Raven, Hellions, all this cool shit, second factory, he's got good upgrades. I don't think it's over by any means. I just, like I said, I don't think Gumiho is a match for Solar in a straight-up Bio game. Solar's so good at the standard, and Gumiho's all about kind of catching his opponent off guard, getting him off balance, off kilter. So far, Solar's showing a very good, solid base. Now, I gotta say, Solar, his injects suck right now. He does need to stop pulling every queen to the front. That's been a mistake he's been making. I wouldn't say, maybe not suck, but they're just not as good as they could be, right? But he's got a fourth coming up. He's got a macro hatch coming up, and he is now queuing those injects on those hatcheries. So he's doing a good job. Gumiho is getting a fourth command center, and he's going straight to 8 barracks here. Wow, okay. Shields has started as well. Baneling speed's on the way. Solar is on 5 gases, which means I think he's just playing Lingbane Hydra. That'll work just fine. It's double factory tank. Ah, okay. This is a pretty good map for tanks. There's lots of good areas. You can stick those tanks behind different ledges and that sort of stuff. Lings on the top side are going to come in and find this 4th base that's about to go down up there. There we go. He's aware of what he's up against. The Raven and the Hellion still poking around, but good creep spread. Look at that creep. It's getting all over the map. Solar spreading like a bloody cancerous growth he is. He's all over it. Infestation pits on the way and an extra gas geyser. I think he's heading towards Lurkers on Hive, I would imagine. Yep, Hydroden goes down as well. So he's going to go up towards the Hydra Lurker. Double tank production will mean he's going to be at, what, 2 tanks for now. I think he'll probably have about 8 tanks by the time the Lurker Viper's hitting the field. So Gumiho's going to have a really nice maxed push that's going to hit at about 10 minutes 20, 10:30. And that's going to be a very interesting and decisive point in this game, is how well does that push go? And, I mean, if Gumiho can get a 5th up behind it and just keep that expansion rate going, because he's getting such a high SCV count, then I think he could do some pretty cool stuff with it. I just worry that he's not going to be able to keep up with the mobility of Solar's Lingbane. Solar starts attacking the top, attacking the right side, getting in the mineral lines. That will be awkward. Concussive Shells is on the way for Gummibro right now. Oh, he's got to be careful. He's kind of trapped there. His Hellbats are trapping his units, man. Bad fight for Gumiho. Does lose all of his Marines and Hellbats for a couple Banelings. It's very important for Solar because it gives him room to get this 5th up on the left side. He's keeping a bit of space open. Those rocks are still up for now, but for how much longer is the question. The Raven coming up here with this bio, allowing them to clear the creep without having to scan as much, which is definitely good for Gumiho. And equal army supply, which is usually good for the Zerg, but the worker count is very close, and there are those more command centers coming. So keep in mind that Gumiho is just going to be playing this sort of game where I almost feel like the way he's playing, he might go for 3 more barracks and just try to have so much Marine Marauder tank that he can just keep expanding and keep kind of rolling through. And as long as he doesn't, he's not going to be trying to force a victory. He's just going to be trying to like slowly push the creep back and clear the map up and kind of just create a claustrophobic environment for Solar. His Overseer's still just hanging in here. I'd love to see him go drop a goop on the factory, slow down a tank. Marine Marauder stimming forward. Those queens, though, being pulled back very nicely. I mean, it's a real effort just to clear this creep, isn't it? And that's the power of what Solar's done in this game. But here we go, Hydras. And this is where the Raven becomes a bit more of a liability, potentially. Good pickup on that side. Raven's going to potentially go down. There we go. He does stim forward. Where are the tanks, man? He's got 7 tanks. I said 10:30. He'll have an 8 siege tank push. It looks like they are all coming now. But maybe took a little while to get those forward. If he already had those sieged and spread, this would make it really hard for Solar to actually fight into this. There's only 2 tanks down there right now. 5 more about to arrive. The bio's going a bit too far forward, though. You got to be careful here. I mean, this is a bad fight for Solar, surely. Yeah, terrible fight for Solar, but he does back out of it, so at least it's not game deciding. He's got Vipers on the way. Hasn't really got his Lurker upgrades going just yet, has he? He's going for Adrenal Glands. 5th Command Center's up on the left. Oh! Solar's going to try to engage into this, but dude, that's a Marauder-heavy, tank-spread-heavy army, yet somehow he does really well? I don't even know how, man. And where's the tank? I don't know how so many tanks went down trying to push through there. I think Gumiho maybe pushed a bit too hard, was a bit too clumped. I think he's doing a bit too much entire army and entire control group micro when he should be doing a bit more manual boxing. If there's one secret to Maru's success, it's that he's so rarely using select all army when he gets to maxed armies, right? He's so commonly just spreading things manually, and he's not creating double work for himself by grabbing the whole control group, telling him to do something, and then going, oh, everything's mega clumped. I have to spread it all manually now. He does it. He does spread manually. He does occasionally group everything, but very regularly he maintains discipline instead and doesn't let that happen. Now, there's 3 tanks are great anchors. There's a 5th there, a 6th going up there. He wants to try and keep expanding, does Gumiho, but Solar's now at that hive tech, and the Vipers are going to say, nope. Just yoink that 1 siege tank. There's more where that came from. Where's the Marine count, though? There's only 23 Marines in here. There's nothing to kill the Zerglings. This is a disaster for Gumiho. His army supply is a little bit too low right now. Where are his Marines? He's so heavy on Marauders. He's got a tanky force, but you need Widow Mines. If you guys play super Marauder heavy, you need to have Widow Mines or Hellbats in the mix to deal with the Zerglings and to some extent the Banelings as well. So Gumiho with a compositional misstep, I would argue, in this game. I think his style was very cool, and I really think it's a slower style. It's not as mechanical, but it feels to me like he's missing an ingredient. And that ingredient, I would argue, is a 3rd factory with a reactor making Widow Mines. Doesn't need a lot of them, but a few of them. Because it's just the Marauders don't have damage density. They're a wall of tankiness. You need some splash damage to really help out with that. Tanks don't quite cut it, especially against the Zerglings. SCV is not repairing right now. Command Center is burning down. As a Gumiho fan, I'm hoping he fixes that up. But now that Solar's got full map control, he can just come up here, kill the sensor tower. You don't know where you're going to get hit next. And Lingbane Hydra just going to annihilate that command center. It's a huge pick off there for Solar, denying the 5th base. And there's a new 5th base, aka 6th base in the bottom right. I mean, he can transfer workers there. Gumiho's still going to have a few maxed out armies, but he's not going to have ghosts, and lurkers are hitting the field. So the Vipers counter the tank, the lurkers counter the bio. Gumiho does like to stay pure bio tank and really stay in this kind of extended mid-game and just have more army than his opponent, more stuff, not bother going up to the ghosts, just have raw fighting units. It's not going to work for him here. This planetary is also going to get taken down, set back to 4 bases up against a Zerg that is taking a 6th and 7th base, and that is going to be a Solar just swarming over the map. Push back into his corner. Gumiho's game plan not looking great anymore. In this scenario, you only really have hope for the Terran if he's a late game Ghost Master, and we haven't really seen any inclination of that just yet from Gumi. Ooh! Oh my lord! Good defensive setup for Gumiho, but the Blinding Clouds do help out a lot. The bio comes back in forward. Gumiho will defend this push. Banelings do make it difficult for him. He actually gets a fantastic trade. Solar doesn't have a lot of money in the bank. He's actually down in supply after that fight. That was an unnecessary engagement as well. Solar's income not looking as crash hot as I thought it would. I think he's transferred workers to these newer bases now, but he's done it maybe a little bit late, and he's got to give up this bottom base. Cancels it at the last second. He can send some of these drones to the top left of the map. More lurkers are being made right now. Gumiho clearing some creep, getting a base deny. He's got more command centers, but they're orbitals. They cannot be morphed into planetaries. So this puts Gumiho in such a fragile position. At any moment, a handful of Lings can ruin his economy on these exposed bases, as he does not have the planetary to deal with that. Biotank pushing on forwards. And Gumiho is now in a very scary army supply situation. He's on 6 tanks, 18 Marauders, 26 Marines. And just remember, those 18 Marauders, if your lurkers aren't clearing those quickly, the Banelings will waste themselves trying to get through those Marauders. Mass Ling on the right side. Gumiho, does he see it? Oh, he does. He does see it. Okay. Solar's being a little bit cheeky here. Lings end up rejoining with the army. And Gumiho's like, hey man, I'm not going to stop just for 2 lurkers. The Marauders make quick work of that. Ooh. The Banelings are ready. If the bio goes forward, they will defend. Oh, top left. Looks like a squad of bio runs up there. They will go down. You see how badly Marauders get mauled by Zerglings. Okay, building armor's on the way, as well as +2 vehicle weapons. It's going to help out Gumiho a little bit. He's still mostly just on bio, though, so the compositional advantage, the tech advantage, does go to Solar. This base still pretty much undefended. The tanks are all set up on the south of this map. They're not able to support the bio here. Feels like Gumiho wants to feint to the left and then keep pushing the south side so he doesn't have to painstakingly move all of his siege tanks. Ooh, okay, a couple tanks caught at the front. And a little bit slow on the stim and spread there from Gumiho does cost him. Loses a lot of these units. He's still got tanks behind it to fall back on, making it difficult for Solar to march forward, but Solar evicts him from the center of the map. At the same time, though, double drop in the top left does find Solar's Expo, and it's a very important expansion as well, remember. Oh, that's too many lurkers, though. If he just had 1 or 2 tanks, he might be able to do it, but good angling by Gumiho. Very nice angling, and he's got to get those SCVs. Just run the SCVs, and I think you're okay. The lurkers are unsupported, though, which is a huge problem for him. Oh, no, the bio. Okay, good hot pickup here by Gumiho. Gumiho does manage to make these... I mean, these lurkers need to get home. This is a crazy risky move for Solar, but who knows? Maybe it pays off. That command center is lifted. This command center is lifted. Not great income for Gumiho right now, but Solar is also looking to be in dire straits. I mean, it's this base here that's Solar's lifeline. That's the one big fresh base that he has. Otherwise, it's just 2 or 3 bases with only a handful of mineral patches left on it. Oh, here we go. Solar's just going to go for it. He has a gigantic army. There's not enough space to unload the bio. Oh, great moves by Solar to jump on top, but Gumiho still has a reinforce coming through. And this one lurker, oh god, does keep those SCVs alive. He's going to try and re-land a command center on the bottom right side. I think if Gumiho wants to do it on the top left, he should just drop the command center sneakily in the corner. Whoa! 1-2 lurkers go down, almost gets a third one. Great pickoffs there for Gumiho. He wants to try and catch those lurkers, but you've got to be careful chasing into that 10 lurker range. Good scan. He's got to get rid of this creep spread. Solar's map vision from that creep spread is just out of control. Both sides are down on their last economic legs. This fight may decide this game. Oh, sexy blinding cloud there from Solar. Just some big cloud energy as he drops some noxious fumes all over his opponent's face and says, "Get out of here, dickhead." The bio on the top left is actually doing quite well to deal with those hydras and lurkers, but Gumiho just doesn't quite have the numbers. And Solar clears him up and breaks through there despite a few spotty moments. Alright, well I may have undersold his chances in that last game. So he fought back with a vengeance, and he has that such a cool style of avoiding ghosts. He does it versus Protoss as well. People are like, why don't you have ghosts? And he's like, because I have tempo. Ghosts don't have stim. They don't have as much damage output, raw damage output. You know, you go ghost, you make the game more static. Gumiho really likes the mobility of bio, and we saw how he fought back with that in that last game. Solar, he's got to not underestimate his opponent. He's got to be right on top of things, because Gumiho, he's pretty good at wriggling out of those hard spots, and it was a very good bio game, very tank focused from Gumiho. But yeah, there was that one big fight in the middle where it felt like Gumiho had an advantage, and then suddenly it was like, oh, a few good fights, and then the tank shots weren't landing in the right spots, and no big Widowmine shots or anything like that. No Marines in the back line really gunning down the Zerglings. So I'd love to see if we can get a little bit more of the same style with just a slight adjustment. Maybe just play one factory tech lab, one factory reactor. Hellbat tank bio, something we never see, though I think it would still be okay. But I do think tank Widowmine bio, some players been doing that, and it looks so sexy. It's harder to play because you're managing 2 different siege units. You kind of want your Widowmines peppered around. You want your tanks in certain like longer range spots. But it can work very, very well. Gumiho, not a big fan of scouting. He says, no. I'm just going to go for that command center. Let the Reaper do the scouting for me. That's fine. I don't want to send an SCV and a Reaper. Pretty small map. And we'll see how much damage you can get done with that. Pulling workers off gas as the natural finishes. So it looks like a textbook opening again for Solar. And he'll send that drone out. He's going to take the front third. Okay. A lot of people do like this front third. It's kind of protected by these rocks, so they can't actually march forward and take advantage of the good positioning until these rocks are down. So I think that's fair enough. 6 Zerglings on the way, so Solar still hasn't learnt his lesson, despite me ranting at him and telling him so many times. To be fair, this is one of the maps I'm kind of okay with you building 6 Zerglings. And it does just make it a little bit easier to micro against the Reaper. Make sure you don't lose any units if you micro correctly. Ooh, but this is like annoying Reaper micro. It may lose the Reaper though. Yeah, a bit too fancy. He's going to lose the Reaper unless he does some really good movement. And oh, he's out. because that queen can't cut him off now that he's kind of on the south of the queen. So unless the Lings pull off some really sick micro... Oh, the other queen actually got here, but not in time, as I said. As I said, I never had a doubt. Easily out of there. Much quicker second gas, guys, which tells us that he's going to be going probably for Cloaked Banshees or something like that, something a bit more starport focused. Battle Cruiser, right? Starport in the back of the base. I don't know, guys. I think we're seeing a 2-port Battle Cruiser opening. Third gas geyser in a moment, yeah. I don't know what time the third gas geyser goes down with that. But you can go 3cc into 2-port BC. It's obviously like super crazy build, but it's an option. It's just the fact that he's hiding it in the back makes me think it's something abnormal, you know, something weird, something sneaky. But it could just be trying to give off that image as well. So we'll find out soon. Link speed is once again going to finish up about 4 minutes just after that. But the Hellions are pretty late this game. It isn't that non-stop Hellion production from the last game. And indeed it is just Cloaked Banshees. Okay. Hellions. Oh, Queen gets a hit off there. 8 damage to the Hellions. Marine's going to try and kill this Overlord. Will the Overlord get in? I mean, a single Marine can't really stop it. If you build a second Marine, you can guarantee you can stop it. Now, in this scenario, he's got so much space to cover, but the Marine just wasn't microed that well by Gumiho. There we go. That's better. Ooh, okay. All right, not bad, not bad. He actually does deny him seeing what's up. So Solar will have to just build safety Spore Crawlers. 4 minutes 30 if he wants to be super safe if there was no third CC. But of course, he saw the third CC, so he should know 4 minutes 40 on a small map like this. Maybe 4:50 if you want to be super greedy. But we'll see how much Solar decides to try and toe that line. He's got double Evo Chamber on the way. No lair just yet. 450, no lair, no spores. Hello? Solar, hello? Oh my god, he saw no starport, so he must think there's a second barracks. Ooh, so Gumiho walks right in, Cloak is finished, and Solar with no detection, and this is huge. Even just denying mining on this base is massive. Way more than you normally get with a couple of Banshees, and it's not like Gumiho had to do a crazy aggressive build. He went 3 command center into this. This is not a particularly fast Banshee, but it's doing a particularly large amount of damage. It's forcing, look at this, 30 drones all trying to hide behind this Spore. He's just going to pick off like maybe 8 drones in total, deny a ton of mining time. Don't fly into the Spore Crawler. Gumiho! What the hell? You saw that building, mate. Man, he's been flying into spores today. He did that in the previous game with the medevac as well. He's going to join up with the other Banshee, try and deny the creep. Look at that, Solar very cleverly. He says, okay, the Banshees are here. Spread the creep to the left. And the Banshees are like waiting for that tumor to spread, and it's not. And they're like, where is it, man? Third command center is landed. It is going to be bio one more time. Gumiho apparently really working on his bio play. Just, I think this makes sense. I told you guys that Solar's so good at dealing with his mech. That active tumor there does need to get picked off. He could shoot his own unit to finish it, but always going to be a little annoying that that tumor does survive. Hellions rotating around the left side. Does deny the 4th temporarily, which is cute. The lair is still not done, so the Banshee's just being a bit of a pain in the ass, man. Hellions roaming, but that creep tumor being a bit of a dick. Sees them coming miles away. So 9 queens, 15 zerglings out. 1/1 upgrades are just slightly ahead for the zerg, but only slightly. 4th and 5th barracks there. Tanks are starting as well. And combat shields has been remembered. Gumiho, one of the few Terrans who I feel doesn't forget combat shields very often. You got to be Bian or Maru level to do that, man. Armory is on the way as well. That should line up pretty nicely as well. For once, we're going to see the 2-2 start at a pretty crisp moment. I like this wall off as well. This gives so much early warning of Baneling run-bys. Taking these rocks down would be nice, but the Banshee's covering that as well. So 1 Banshee on the front, making it hard to spread creep. Scouting being annoying. 1 Banshee on the defense of the run-bys. Alright. Ooh, does lose only 1 or 2 Marines there. Not too bad for Gumiho. He's going to put this tank here. Great tank spots on this map, man. And now he's like, I'm just going to bait you into this siege tank. It's guarded by some Hellbats. At least they will be Hellbats soon. Very nice. 4th command center building on location. Gumiho showing some spectacular greed right here. The Reaper, oh, is he going to see them? Okay, the Reaper will see the Zerglings on that right side. Marine still posturing here. It's a big flank, but the 4 Hellbats on the tank mean those Lings cannot get on top of that tank. The other tank on the other side of the bridge as well. He's going to position that one further forward now, start his advance a little bit. 4th command center is, of course, very vulnerable, though. So Gumiho, I mean, he's playing very greedy. He's got to keep it going. 2-2s on the way. Still ahead for Solar, who's getting that infestation pit as well. Link Bane hanging on, but, of course, the space control going to be going to Gumiho here. A few more Marines do get taken out by a Baneling. But the second factory on the way as well. He's looking okay. I like this move by Gumiho. Finds the Lings on the right side. And this is obviously, it seamlessly turns from a defensive force, pushing back those Lings into its own kind of multi-pronged drop force. You can send it forward to clear the creep and that sort of stuff. Still got 2 tanks in the middle of the map, just creating a position of nasty, as I like to call it. This creep tumor that got missed earlier has actually spread forwards and created a bit of a nubbin. And here we go. Marine's going to go 4th, get an Overlord on that side. Very nicely done. Another scan there would be good, but he's going to pull to the right side and maybe threaten picking up. Banshee in the top left going to start damage that 5th. Hive is on the way, which means that Gumiho's on a timer with this comp. Remember how quickly things turned once those Vipers came out in that last game. Tanks are starting to rally forward, though. It looks like he wants to really push. He goes for a double drop, but almost loses the medevacs. He could save some more Marines, but he does end up losing most of those. And oh no, Gumiho's not paying attention. He loses both medevacs, or 1 medevac. The other one survives with just a few Marines. Big Marine attack on the left. He wants to get a snipe on this hatch. Very cool. Means his middle army is kind of unsupported right now. Gumiho maxed out 73 workers, which I actually think is a better worker count compared to the last game. Picks up most of those Marines, saves them, gets a hatch snipe, get in, get out. Army in the middle, though. Solar says, hey, your tanks can't have many Marines on them if you've got 4 medevacs worth, which is, of course, 32 Marines on the left side. Clears out a few of the tanks, a bunch of Marines in the middle, creates a little bit of room for himself. He's got to respread this creep as he's been pushed back into a bit of a corner. 5th Command Center is on the way. We've got 2 more barracks with tech labs. Now, this is something I noticed in the last game. Most players get 3 barracks with tech labs. Gumiho just goes to 7 barracks. He just builds 2 more, but then he's very consistent at building Marauders once he swaps into them, which I'd like to see pretty soon. I'd like to see him start mixing them in, and indeed the very first Marauder does queue up, but he is maxed out, remember? He's going to send a 6 Marine drop down the left side. He's going to try and push this right side, and Gumiho's going to start marching on 4th. He's got to do some big pre-spreads. These Marines here are a bit too clumped, I would argue. I want to see even more spreadies, and just stimming these guys at the front, spreading as best he can. Oh, here we go. Solar's really going for it. But nice micro by Gumiho. He takes a few Banelings, but overall a good fight for him. The drop on the left side does go down to those Queens. And on the right side, he's shoving on in. There's not many Banes left. Ooh, Gumiho's going to have to try and gun the Banes down, but now the Lings are here to support, which means he's going to have to get on out of there with those Marines. Picks up and saves some of them, and a tank. There's more tanks behind it. Oh, but he actually lost some of the full medevacs. Most of the Marines died. That's a hold. Solar holds off. Yes, he's only on 4 bases, but wait, no, his 5th base pops back up right out of the ashes. Ghost Academy goes down, and Gumiho here going to plan C. You can tell he wants to win with Bio. He doesn't want to go to the Ghost. He's going to do it as plan C, and I don't think he's really wanting to do that, but he's just going to feel forced to. 3rd factory is going down as well. That's kind of cool. I do like triple factory tank production, but I also like Widow Mines, like I said earlier, and he didn't make that adjustment that I was calling for. Does feel like whenever Gumiho goes on creep, Solar's able to outmatch him in those engagements. So I think we're going to see a Gumiho is much more cautious about pushing his advantages in a moment. Oh, we've got the Zergling there on the left side as well. Seeing no base. Big army of Zerg looking to come forwards. I think he's rock solid. I don't think... If Solar pushes in here, it's a very dangerous and silly move in my mind. Especially now with this drop spotting it at a time. And look at that. He's got a tank on the high ground there. This really creates a good amount of space. The sensor tower sees a good half of the map as well. And this is a good idea. Just threaten up there, pull back, clean up these Zerglings. Get out of there before the Abducts get you, though. He should know he's got to pick up and leave. The Abducts and the Hydras will cause him doom, death, and destruction. There's no way out, man. He's dead. Yep, he left it too late. And as I said, the Ducks, you gotta respect the Hive Tech, man. Loses all that bio. What started as a good move, he needed to get back up behind these depots much earlier. Solar's gonna crash through the wall. Not a great trade after the wall, but clearing the depot is very good for the future. Solar's bank is now going to start to build up. He's at about 1,800 resources right now. Gumiho is still not maxed out. So Gumiho trailing a couple thousand resources overall in terms of what they've got in active forces on the map. Ghost production is now starting. Lurker upgrades are on the way. As Gumiho, I imagine you expand to this top left side. Solar's already thinking about mining it out. Solar's already got full workers on that. He's got this base as well. This is a map where the late game should favor the Terran, simply because there aren't many bases for you to mine from. So as the Terran, you just need to lock down your half of the map, mine those, and you'll be fine. Here we go, Solar with a big engage. My god. Okay. Big spread of tank bio, though. I don't think he's going to be able to crack on through. Does crack through the front line. That felt like a good fight for Solar in my mind. I feel like a lot of the bio and tanks were just a bit too far back, so it felt like he was fighting a small section of Gumiho's army, and he knew exactly when to pull back. Units lost type, something we'll start checking in on as we get to, you know, this sort of game plan for Gumiho is going to be more of a stalemate game plan. 15,000 resources lost for Gumiho, 18,500 for Solar. So a 3,500 resource difference. Maybe a little closer to 4,000, but still very similar. It's not a big drastic difference that we see a lot of the time when Maru's playing. Nidus Worm's on the way. Gumiho's going to have to watch out for the Lurker Nidus in the main base. There's no way this hatchery really gets up. I think this is a trap. I think you just let him try this and just focus on defending back here as Gumiho, and try to get more tanks up here. I think he needs extra layers of tanks. I think more tanks here. Solar's going to go for a crazy jump on. I think Gumiho thought he had enough, but where's his Marines? Where, and most importantly, where are the Widow Mines? I keep mentioning it, but we see it once again. He's there with like 10 Marines, 4 Ghosts, 10 Siege Tanks. Nothing there kills Lings and Banes. Nidus in the main, and Solar breaches on through, getting the 2-0 and going to the grand finals. I told you guys he was going to be heavily favored in this match, and there is a bloody good reason why, and that's it.